Thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com, home of technical analysis education in both the stock market and cryptocurrency worlds. See the links in the description of this video for more information on our two courses, Entries and Exits on the Fundamentals of Technical Analysis, as well as our new course on Trading Cryptocurrency Strategy. Purchase both and receive a 20% off bundle discount. Thanks for checking us out. Let's get on to the technical analysis. Hello everyone, hope you're having a good weekend and a good morning. We're going to be looking at the big three as usual. Before I get into it, I want to give some updates on crypto.chartguys.com alert system. We have added the euro pairs to the Kraken exchange. We have also added push notifications, so this opens it back up to all countries. There's no longer any limitations on countries. It's also faster in terms of delivery of these notifications compared to SMS. So we are transitioning from SMS alerts over to these push notifications. Now we're going to be looking at adding our own proprietary indicators. This is where we get to get creative, and certainly a whole long list of things that I want to be signaled on when looking at these charts. So now we're getting to work to putting those into formulas to actually having them alert us. And also we're going to be adding more exchanges and more coins pairings as always. So keep the feedback coming. If you want any kind of coin that is on an exchange that we already list, that's the easiest for us to add. And as far as adding other exchanges, that's definitely on our list, but certainly taking things out one at a time and continuing to progress. So looking at Bitcoin, the daily time frame right now is tightening up and we have an inside bar forming. And if you've been watching these videos, the scenario that we were looking for was a higher low compared to 40.15, and then from there we were going to be watching, can the bulls just head straight to a higher high and break 44.70, or are we going to set a lower high and form a little equilibrium pattern? And there's pretty much one level for me that's going to dictate the answer to that, and saw that clear pattern a while ago. We'll go into that in just a moment, but as of right now, the top of our move is at 44.07. So we formed a lower high by $63, and that is the resistance we're watching right now, and we see the range is tightening. So we zoom into the 4 hour and we can see a nice little lower high pattern with a horizontal base of support. So this is essentially a descending triangle pattern. There's a couple patterns that you could point out here. So let's look at the hourly descending triangle pattern. Again, the double bottom at 43.20 and a lower high pattern. Anything under 43.87 on this bounce attempt is going to be just another lower high, and we're going to have to watch to see which is going to break first. You could definitely draw a downtrend resistance line on this pattern. I personally can visually see it enough, and I'm more concerned about the price levels than the actual trend line, but it would look a little something like this, and we would be right there. That being said, again, I just use the trend lines for a heads up, because we could get over this trend line and close up here, and it's still a lower high, which is why the price levels are king for me. That's the overall what I'm looking for to determine whether the break has occurred. This is just more for visualization. So the pattern that we pointed out to indicate that this could be a potential top and a pullback to stay within that daily pattern, I posted this about 12 hours ago, and it is this potential head and shoulders pattern on the hourly time frame. So I posted in the chat room, BTC hourly potential head and shoulder pattern to keep an eye on, and at that point we were seeing some strength, and we were up with 3 green candlesticks in a row, a little bit of an upper wick, but on our way to a bullish MACD cross. This is the hourly time frame. So let's see where we are now relative to that pattern. And again, that's why I said there's multiple patterns you could look at, because if you take your eyes off the descending triangle, it's the left shoulder, the right shoulder, and this is where I posted that chart when we were on this candlestick, and it's been nothing but pullback since then, but we didn't break down through that neckline, and we are bouncing off of it right now. So that's going to shift me from the head and shoulders pattern. Still the same level that's important, but again, it's going to be that descending triangle we're watching now. So we can pretty much ignore that left shoulder and just look at the lower high, higher low pattern. Let's see if the 15-minute time frame is giving us any better indication. We did break a lower high here on the 15 minutes, so that's a good sign for the bulls. And we now have to start forming higher lows and higher highs on this 15-minute time frame and separating ourselves from this 43.20 support, building more support on the way up. So it's a good attempt for the bulls. We could hold this level, and if we do hold this 43.20 level, then the odds of breaking to 44.70 and above to higher highs is likely. If we lose 43.20, then the odds of forming a daily equilibrium pattern and seeing the range tighten up for a few days is more likely. So that one level is going to dictate which is more likely to happen, and as of right now, it's still favoring the bulls as long as it holds. We had a shift in correlation over the past 2 days where Ethereum has clearly stood out as the lead bull. And you look at the ETH BTC chart, that's what I use whenever I'm looking at a comparison to see which name is strongest, and also going to be working on an alert for the system that's going to help tell us when a name is shifting in terms of its strength and correlation. But you have the 4-hour time frame oversold with a clear lower high, lower low pattern, and then we set a higher low and a higher high. So right here is when the bulls started to prove themselves in terms of showing ETH strength. We were trading sideways for a good amount of time. Considering these are 4-hour candlesticks, this was over a day where we were just trading sideways before the bull break for ETH, and then a higher low and a higher high. So the 4-hour time frame is now seeing a reversal favoring ETH over BTC. You can see the bullish reversal candlesticks on the daily time frame getting a little bit of follow through. So that is definitely something to watch, but it's worth keeping in mind that even if we see a bull break here, that doesn't mean ETH is bullish. Because think about it, it's just telling us comparatively that ETH is stronger than BTC. We could have both names dumping, and if Bitcoin is dumping harder than ETH, this chart's going to go up. So this is just a reminder not to just look at this chart and buy if we see some bullish signals. This is just telling us which name we should rather be in. And if you compare it to LTC BTC to see how that correlation is going between the two, LTC is still extremely weak. This is the 4-hour time frame. We're down at the lows, and we're not seeing much bounce, no sign of a reversal. So it's very clear that ETH is stronger than BTC, and LTC is weaker than BTC. So right there we can get our rankings of 1, 2, 3 of strongest to weakest. And that's something that I do every few days because this correlation is always shifting, and especially with the fundamental events coming up. We have the people unsure with the Bitcoin split. We have the fork with Ethereum. People seem a little bit more confident in. There's not as much controversy around it. So we could be seeing some fun shift to ETH, and we'll be watching for further signs of that on the daily time frame. So now we need to see ETH BTC with a daily higher low and a higher high, just like we saw on the 4-hour time frame, for this pattern to see continuation favoring ETH. So speaking of ETH, here it is on the daily time frame, and with that we got a bull break. We saw higher highs by breaking 312.75. That's a significant bull break. We are seeing a bearish reversal candlestick right now. We still have 11 hours of trading in this candlestick, but it is a clear bull break to higher highs, similar to if Bitcoin were to have broken that 44.70 level. So we have our high, our low, lower high, higher low, and then a higher high and a bullish break. The next resistance level after the high of today of 314.62, I'm looking up here at 345. There's psychological resistances before that, but that is the next clear resistance level here on Ethereum. So checking in on the 4-hour time frame, what does consolidation look like? Extremely healthy. This is very low volume. Look at the bull volume compared to bear volume. ETH is clearly a lead bull, and our new higher low of support is 304.57. That's a potential stop loss level. We had a new member in the chat room pointing out a potential entry for ETH, and it was at 305 support because it was previously resistance, and 305 had rejected the price time and time again. There's a lot of price history around 305 for Ethereum, so they had the idea for a potential entry at the 305 area, and it worked out really nicely so far, up $2.50 from that point essentially. And we'll see if that continues. The hourly time frame, clear little lower highs and lower lows. If we break this 307.74 level, which we are approaching, that will break the lower highs, and then we will look for higher lows and higher highs to begin forming. And seeing that on the 15-minute time frame, just a very clear consolidation pattern, close to breaking bullish, and watching for that shift in momentum to indicate it's time to get back into ETH. Because again, like I said, with 11 hours left to go on that daily candlestick, if we do see a bull break after this healthy consolidation, there's plenty of time for the bulls to see a very strong candlestick by heading back into the 3 teens before 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. So Ethereum has all my attention today. I'm watching the lower high, lower low 15-minute pattern for a break and an entry. And if I were to make an entry here, I personally am just waking up. So I'm looking at a higher low on the 15-minute time frame would be my entry point, and then my stop level would be below this 304.57 low that we did see. Litecoin on the daily is extremely tight but very weak. So you could see Ethereum essentially would be like Litecoin breaking 57.45 if we were that strong, and we're way away from that level. We're about 10% plus away from that point. So we did break to a lower low as well. 50.35 broke by 10 cents. So we have a lower high and a lower low, where Bitcoin has a higher low and Ethereum has a higher low and a higher high. So Litecoin is clearly the weakest, and we have that support at $50.25. We have resistance at $52.73 and $53. You can see on the 4-hour time frame those levels more clearly. There's 53, there's $52.73. So we couldn't get a higher high, just another lower high. Bulls are trying to hold $51.40, form a higher low compared to that level, and see a break of $52.73. But it's very, very slim trading, very tight ranges. We just saw in the last 8 hours of trading, and it's actually been more than that at this point. It's been 9 hours of trading with a range of 51.67 to 51.97, a 30-cent range in 9 hours. That's insanely small for Litecoin, and the volume is there to show that. So 10K is absolutely nothing, and that's a snooze fest over at Litecoin right now. So Litecoin on the hourly, you can see just tightening ranges, lower highs, and trying to form a little higher low here. And 51.95, 51.97. So we did break by 2 pennies. Not very convincing, but here we are right back down near the lows. And I personally would not be wanting to trade Litecoin when there's 2 better options, most notably Ethereum strength, to be watching today. So that's where we stand on these names. Ethereum, let's see if this bullish move can continue. And again, this equilibrium pattern on the weekly time frame, we could see a bull move all the way up to 350 and still be within this equilibrium pattern. So that's what we are watching in terms of strength. And again, don't forget those correlation charts, ETC BTC or ETH BTC and LTC BTC, to see which name you should be focusing most on. So I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll continue to check back in throughout the weekend. Have a great night, day, everything.